Hello and welcome! Today we're making this adorable capybara keychain with a few simple embroidery details. And if you don't have a ring with a chain, you can use a piece of string, or you can keep them as is without the chain. And if you're making this around Christmas, you can turn it into an ornament. For materials, we will only need 2 colors for capybara itself, and then 1 optional color for the scarf. And then some thread, pins and needles, and then the keychain if you have one, some kind of stuffing tool, stuffing, and scissors. I'm going to start with preparing the ears. At this point, we have an important decision to make. Is he going to be facing left or right? Mine will be facing right. Make sure to leave some space around the muzzle for stitching. And now let's work on the face details. You can use this diagram as a guide. And for nostrils, I like to make 3 or 4 stitches on top of each other or very close to one another. And now let's work on the eye. I'm doubling up my stitching so the eye is more visible, but you can use just 1 layer. And now let's put together the body. I have the ears ready to go, and I'm going to start at the back and stitch all the way up to the back of his head. And before we insert the ears, let's make sure they're facing the correct way. They should be facing away from each other. that the ears are in, let's attach the keychain. I like to use second to the last link to put the stitches through. This way there is less chance for it to fall out. Make sure the needle goes through the hole in the chain link as well as the fabric. And I'm making 2 stitches on each side to make sure it holds securely. And now we can finish stitching up the body. When stitching around the muzzle, make sure your needle goes only through the light fabric and not through the muzzle. When stitching through the corners like this, make sure you put a stitch right in the middle of the corner so that there is no hole later. Make sure to fill in all the corners well so they look nice and even. And same with the neck. If there's not enough stuffing, it might develop a fold. And now let's make him some legs. Start stitching at the top, which is a little bit wider, and leave an opening for stuffing. Let's attach this leg now. And I like to place the legs so that they stick out below the body just a little bit. So to attach the leg, I'm going to use invisible stitch. So first the needle will go just into the body, and then on the way back it's going to go through the back of the leg. And repeat these stitches a couple more times until you reach the bottom of the leg. At this point the leg is attached, but it's a bit wobbly, and I like to secure it with a few more stitches that go on top of the leg. And then use the same steps to attach the second leg. And before cutting off the thread, I'm going to add some texture on his back. And if you run out of thread at this point, you can just hide a knot under the leg. And our capybara is done. And the last thing I want to add is this little scarf, which is totally optional, but I just love accessories. And the very last thing you might want to do is add a couple of invisible stitches to secure the scarf. And here we go, all done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.